The Vorthok warship Dominion moved through the black void of space like a silent predator. Its massive hull gleamed under the distant light of twin suns as it patrolled the Outer Rim territories. Commander Nexus stood on the bridge, his four eyes scanning the holographic displays that showed empty space in all directions. "Sir, we have detected something unusual," called out Navigation Officer Kelks from his station. His voice carried the typical Vorthok accent, deep and resonant through their breathing apparatus. Commander Nexus turned his attention to the young officer. "What have you found?" "A derelict vessel, approximately 12 kilometers from our current position. It appears to be drifting without power or life signs." The commander's interest was immediate. Derelict ships often contain valuable technology or information that could benefit the Vorthok Empire. "Put it on the main screen." The large display showed a strange vessel unlike anything in their database. It was smaller than most Vorthok ships, with a design that seemed both primitive and somehow elegant. The hull was dark gray with strange markings that looked like symbols rather than the typical energy patterns used by known civilizations. "Can you identify the species?" Commander Nexus asked. Officer Kelks worked at his console for several minutes before shaking his head. "No match in our records, sir. The design is completely unknown to us." Dr. Kelrath, the ship's chief scientist, approached the command area. His long arms moved with practiced efficiency as he examined the data. "Most interesting. The materials appear to be a combination of metals we recognize, but the construction methods are unfamiliar. I would very much like to examine this vessel more closely." Commander Nexus nodded. "Very well. Prepare a boarding party. I want to know what we are dealing with." 2 hours later, the boarding party returned with fascinating news. They had found the ship's data logs, though most were corrupted or in an unknown language. What they could translate revealed that the vessel belonged to a species called humans from a planet called Earth. "The most remarkable discovery," reported Dr. Kelroth to the assembled senior officers, "is what we found in their cargo bay. Ship appears to be some kind of research vessel, and it contains what can only be described as a preservation chamber." He activated a holographic display showing images from inside the derelict ship. "The chamber contains a single occupant. Based on our scans, this being has been in some form of suspended animation for what appears to be over 200 of their years." The hologram showed a figure lying motionless in a transparent container. The being was roughly humanoid in shape, but smaller than most Vorthok. It had only 2 arms, 2 legs, and what appeared to be a single head with 2 eyes. "How primitive," commented Security Chief Vex. "It looks almost fragile." Dr. Kelroth nodded agreement. "Indeed, yet there are some interesting aspects to consider. The preservation technology is quite sophisticated, even by our standards. And there are unusual readings from the subject itself." "What kind of readings?" Commander Nexus asked. "The bone density is nearly twice what we would expect for a being of this size. The muscle tissue shows signs of artificial enhancement. There are also several implants throughout the body that appear to be some form of performance enhancement technology." The room fell silent as the implications became clear. This was not just any random alien they had discovered. This was some kind of enhanced warrior. "Have you been able to determine if it can be safely awakened?" the commander asked. "I believe so, yes. The preservation system appears to be designed for eventual revival, with some modifications to accommodate the different atmosphere and environmental needs. I see no reason why we cannot bring this creature back to consciousness." Commander Nexus considered the possibilities. The Vorthok Empire was currently engaged in a difficult conflict with the Zephyrian Alliance. Any new technology or potential weapon could tip the balance in their favor. An enhanced warrior from an unknown species could provide valuable intelligence about new combat techniques or technologies. "How long would you need to prepare the revival process?" he asked. "Perhaps 3 days to modify our medical facilities and ensure the process is safe. I would prefer to have the subject aboard our ship rather than attempting the procedure on the derelict vessel." "Make it so. Have the preservation chamber transferred to our medical bay immediately. I want this done properly." Dr. Kelroth bowed, slightly in acknowledgement. "Of course, Commander. I am quite eager to study this new species. From what little we could translate of their records, humans appear to have been involved in some form of internal conflict when this ship was launched. This subject may have been fleeing from something, or perhaps was being transported for medical treatment, or it could be a weapon being delivered to someone," added Security Chief Vex. "We should take precautions." "Naturally," agreed Commander Nexus. "I want full security measures in place during the revival process. Energy restraints, force fields, the complete arrangement. We know nothing about this species or what they might be capable of." Over the next 3 days, the medical bay was transformed into a combination laboratory and containment facility. The human preservation chamber was carefully moved and connected to Vorthok life support systems. Dr. Kelroth worked tirelessly with his team to understand the alien technology well enough to safely reverse the Ispensian process. The process was scheduled to begin during the ship's quiet period, when most of the crew would be resting. Only essential personnel would be present for the awakening. All systems show normal parameters, reported medical technician Grix as he monitored the various displays. The subject's vital signs are stabilizing as the preservation chemicals are filtered from its system. Dr. Kelrath watched with fascination as the human's body began to show signs of returning consciousness. Muscle twitches, changes in breathing patterns, slight movements of the fingers. Remarkable, he whispered. After more than 2 centuries, this creature is returning to life as if it had merely been sleeping. Commander Nexus stood nearby, flanked by for security guards. Are the restraints functioning properly? Yes, sir. Energy bonds are at full power. The subject will be unable to move when it awakens. The human's eyes suddenly opened. They were small compared to Vorthok eyes, but there was an intensity in them that was immediately noticeable. The being looked around the room, taking in its surroundings with what appeared to be rapid assessment rather than confusion. Fascinating, commented Dr. Kelrath. Most beings experience significant disorientation after extended suspension. This one appears to be adapting to consciousness very quickly. The human tried to move and discovered the energy restraints. Rather than panic, it seemed to test the bonds methodically, as if analyzing their strength and looking for weaknesses. This is going to be most interesting, said Commander Nexus quietly, the human's eyes fixed on him, and for a moment, the Vorthok commander felt something he had not experienced in many years. A chill of uncertainty ran through him as he met that steady, calculating gaze. The discovery of the human had been successful. What they would do with this enhanced warrior from Earth remained to be seen. Deho opened his eyes to a world that made no sense. The ceiling above him was too high and covered with strange symbols that glowed with soft blue light. The air tasted different, metallic, and heavy. His enhanced senses told him immediately that he was no longer on Earth. The last thing he remembered was the evacuation of Sol Research Facility. The enemy forces had been closing in, and Dr. Park had activated the emergency cryptopod. He was supposed to sleep for 6 months while the war ended, but something felt wrong. Very wrong. Large alien beings surrounded his containment area. They were tall, much taller than humans, with 4 eyes arranged in pairs on their elongated heads. Their skin was a pale blue-gray color, and they wore what appeared to be military uniforms. One of them, clearly the leader, based on his posture, and the way others deferred to him, stepped closer. "Can you understand us?" the leader asked. The words came through some kind of translation device, the sound strange but the meaning clear in Deho's mind. Deho remained silent, his training kicking in. Assess the situation first. Never give information to unknown entities. His enhanced vision took in every detail of the room. Medical equipment he didn't recognize. Energy barriers keeping him restrained. Armed guards positioned at strategic points. "I am Commander Nexus of the Vorthok Empire," the leader continued. "You have been in suspended animation for over 200 years. We found your ship drifting in space and decided to revive you. 200 years. The words hit Deho like a physical blow. Earth. What had happened to Earth? To humanity? He kept his expression neutral, but his mind raced through the implications. Dr. Kelrath stepped forward, his 4 eyes studying Deho with scientific curiosity. "Most remarkable. Look at how quickly he processes information. There's no confusion, no panic. His neural activity is extraordinary." The doctor turned to Commander Nexus. "I believe this specimen was genetically enhanced. Notice the bone density, the muscle development. This is no ordinary member of his species." Specimen. The word made Deho's jaw tighten slightly. These beings had awakened him not to help, but to study him like a laboratory animal. "What is your name?" Commander Nexus asked. Deho decided to speak. Information gathering was a two-way process. Deho, Republic of Korea Armed Forces, Enhanced Warrior Division. He kept his voice steady and professional. "Korea. We have not heard of this nation in our records of human space," Dr. Kelrath said, making notes on a strange device. "Human space?" Deho asked, genuinely surprised. "Oh yes, we have encountered your species before. Scattered refugees mostly, running from the destruction of your homeworld, quite primitive, but they make adequate servants for simple tasks." The casual dismissal of humanity as servants made something cold settle in Deho's chest. His enhanced physiology was already analyzing the aliens' movements, their reaction times, their apparent strengths and weaknesses. Commander Nexus gestured to his guards. "We are curious about your enhancements. Our scientists would like to run some tests to understand your capabilities better." "Tests?" Deho's voice carried a warning that the aliens completely missed. "Nothing harmful," Dr. Kelrath assured him. "We simply want to understand how your species modified your body. The technology could be useful for our own warriors." They moved him to a larger chamber that looked like a combination medical facility and combat arena. The energy restraints were replaced with what appeared to be stronger bonds, but Deho noticed they were designed for beings with different physiology than humans. First, we will test your physical capabilities, Dr. Kelroth announced. Please attempt to break free from the restraints. Deho looked at the alien scientist with what might have been amusement. You want me to try to escape? The restraints are designed to hold beings 3 times stronger than our own warriors. You will not succeed, but we can measure your strength. Output this was either incredible arrogance or incredible stupidity. Deho decided to find out which. The energy bonds were sophisticated but designed for alien physiology. Human joints moved differently, and the enhanced warrior program had modified his skeletal and muscular systems in ways these aliens clearly didn't understand. He began with small movements, testing the bonds while appearing to struggle against them. The aliens watched with interest, making notes and observations. Dr. Kelroth was particularly excited about the readings his instruments were providing. Fascinating. The muscle fiber density is incredible. And look at this neural activity. His brain is processing tactical information at a rate that rivals our best strategic computers. Deho found the weakness he was looking for. The restraints assumed his shoulders would dislocate at the same stress points as alien joints. But his enhanced skeletal structure was different. He could dislocate his own shoulders temporarily and relocate them at will, a modification that had saved his life more than once during the war. The restraints are holding perfectly, Security Chief Vex reported to Commander Nexus. This human is no threat to us. Deho smiled grimly. You might want to reconsider that assessment. In one fluid motion, he dislocated both shoulders, slipped through the energy bonds, and relocated his joints. The entire process took less than 2 seconds. Before the aliens could react, he was free and moving. His enhanced reflexes and combat training took over. The nearest guard was reaching for his weapon when Deho's hand struck his throat. The alien's breathing apparatus shattered, and he collapsed, choking on his own blood. The second guard managed to raise his energy weapon, but Deho was already moving. He grabbed the alien's arm, twisted it with enhanced strength, and heard bones snap. The weapon clattered to the floor. The third guard actually fired, but Deho had anticipated the angle. He rolled under the energy beam and came up inside the alien's reach. His enhanced fist drove into what appeared to be the creature's solar plexus. The guard doubled over and stopped moving. 3 aliens dead in less than 10 seconds. Dr. Kelroth stood frozen in terror. How? The restraints were rated for beings 3 times stronger than our warriors. Your warriors are weak, Deho said simply. He picked up one of the energy weapons and examined it. Human intuition and enhanced learning capacity allowed him to understand the basic function almost immediately. Commander Nexus backed away, his 4 eyes wide with shock. This is impossible. Humans are a primitive species. They have no space technology, no advanced weapons. You found me in a spaceship, Deho pointed out. What part of that suggests we're primitive? More guards rushed into the chamber. Deho counted 12 of them, all armed with energy weapons. His enhanced mind calculated angles, distances, and probabilities. The odds were not good, but they were better than the aliens thought. Stand down, human, Commander Nexus ordered. You are outnumbered. I've been outnumbered before, Deho replied. The battle was brief, but decisive. Deho's enhanced speed and reflexes, combined with his tactical training, allowed him to use the chamber's equipment as cover and weapons. When the energy weapons finally brought him down, 5 more aliens lay dead. As consciousness faded, Deho heard Dr. Kelroth's voice, shaking with fear and excitement. Commander, we need to completely revise our understanding of this species. If this is what a single enhanced human can do, what might thousands of them accomplish? The last thing Deho saw before darkness took him was Commander Nexus staring at the bodies of his warriors, his expression a mixture of fear and something that might have been respect. The aliens had wanted to study human capabilities. They were about to get a much more thorough education than they had bargained for. Deho woke up in what could only be described as a prison cell. The walls were made of some kind of energy field that hummed with power. Beyond the barrier, he could see guards watching him constantly. These were different guards, larger and more heavily armed than the ones he had fought before. His body ached from the energy weapons that had brought him down, but his enhanced healing was already working. The burns were fading, and his strength was returning faster than the aliens. Probably expected. Commander Nexus appeared outside his cell, but he kept a safe distance this time. You killed 8 of my warriors, he said, his voice carrying both anger and something else. Fear, perhaps. They attacked me first, Deho replied calmly. I was defending myself. You were a prisoner. Prisoners do not fight back. Deho looked at the commander with cold eyes. Human prisoners do. Dr. Kelroth joined them, carrying a tablet covered with data. The medical scans are complete. Commander, this human's body modifications are far more extensive than we first realized. Enhanced bones, improved muscles, faster reflexes, and something we did not expect. What? Commander Nexus asked. His brain has been modified as well. Neural pathways have been enhanced for faster learning and pattern recognition. In the 3 hours he has been unconscious, His body has somehow learned to process our atmospheric mixture more efficiently. He is adapting to our environment. Daiho filed this information away. His enhanced memory was already cataloging everything. He heard about the ship's systems, the alien biology, and their technology. The Enhanced Warrior program had been designed to create soldiers who could adapt to any battlefield. It seemed to be working even better than the scientists back on Earth had hoped. "We have decided what to do with you," Commander Nexus announced. "You will fight for us." "I will not. You misunderstand. This is not a request." The commander gestured, and several guards moved closer to the cell. "We are currently at war with the Zephyrian Alliance. They have warriors that our soldiers find difficult to defeat. You will fight these enemies for us, or you will die. And if I refuse," Dr. Kelroth stepped forward. "We have something that might interest you. During our exploration of your ship, we found records indicating that other human vessels escaped your homeworld's destruction. We have located some of these ships." Daiho's heart rate increased slightly, but he kept his expression neutral. "Other humans are alive." "Oh yes, we have captured several. Most are used as laborers on mining colonies. But one, we think you might find particularly interesting." A holographic display activated, showing a young woman working in what appeared to be a maintenance bay. She was human, clearly, with dark hair tied back, and wearing a technician's uniform. She looked tired but determined as she worked on some kind of alien machinery. Her name is Jiwoo, according to the records we found. She was captured 3 months ago when we raided a derelict station in the neutral zone. She claims to be an engineer. The image of another human alive and in captivity hit Daiho harder than any weapon. During the war on Earth, protecting civilians had been his primary mission. Seeing one of his people enslaved by these aliens awakened something primal. In his enhanced psychology, "Here is our arrangement," Commander Nexus continued. "You will fight in our combat trials. If you perform well, we will improve the conditions for your fellow human. If you refuse or fail to meet our expectations, she will be transferred to a much less pleasant assignment." Daiho's hands clenched into fists. "You would threaten an innocent person to force my cooperation. We would use whatever methods are necessary to secure your compliance. Your species appears to have strong protective instincts. We will use this against you." It was blackmail, pure and simple. But it also gave Daiho something he needed, a reason to cooperate while he gathered intelligence and planned his next move. "What kind of combat trials?" he asked. Dr. Kelroth activated another display. "We have captured warriors from various species that have proven difficult for our forces to handle. You will fight them in controlled combat situations. We will study your techniques and apply them to training our own soldiers." The first opponent they brought him was a Zephyrian warrior, one of the lizard-like beings that the Vorthok were fighting. It was nearly twice Daiho's size, with natural armor plating and claws that could cut through metal. The combat arena was a circular chamber with various weapons mounted on the walls. The Zephyrian was already armed with a curved blade that seemed designed for its unique fighting style. "You may choose any weapon," announced Dr. Kelroth from the observation deck above. Daiho studied the available weapons. Most were designed for alien physiology, but he found a simple metal rod that would work as a staff. His enhanced learning ability was already analyzing the Zephyrian's posture, movement patterns, and likely attack strategies. "Begin," Commander Nexus ordered. The Zephyrian charged immediately, its blade whistling through the air, where Daiho had been standing, but the human was already moving, using his enhanced speed to stay just ahead of the alien's attacks. The fight lasted 7 minutes. When it ended, the Zephyrian was unconscious, and Daiho stood over it with barely a scratch. The watching aliens were silent with shock. "Impossible," whispered Dr. Kelroth. "That Zephyrian had defeated 12 of our best warriors." "Your warriors fight like machines," Daiho said, not even breathing hard. "They follow patterns. Patterns can be broken." Over the following days, they brought him opponent after opponent, a crystalline being that could change its body density, a gas-form creature that most weapons passed through harmlessly, a heavily armored insectoid with acid for blood. Daiho defeated them all, but more importantly, he was learning. Every fight taught him something new about alien biology, technology, and combat techniques. His enhanced memory stored every detail about the ship's layout that he glimpsed during his trips to and from the arena. He memorized guard rotations, weapon placements, and security protocols. During rest periods, he was allowed access to a learning terminal to help him understand his opponents better. The aliens thought they were being clever, giving him just enough information to make him a better fighter for their purposes. They had no idea that his enhanced brain was absorbing and analyzing everything in the ship's database that he could access: language patterns, technological specifications, star charts, military tactical information. He was building a complete picture of the Vorthok Empire and its weaknesses. After 2 weeks of fighting, Dr. Kelroth was ecstatic with the data he had collected. "Commander, this human's combat adaptability is beyond anything we have seen. He learns new fighting techniques in minutes that take our warriors months to master." Excellent. How soon can we begin implementing his methods in our training programs? That is the problem, sir. His techniques seem to require the physical and mental enhancements that his species has developed. Our warriors cannot replicate his speed, his pattern recognition, or his tactical adaptation. Commander Nexus frowned. Then what use is he to us? Perhaps we should consider acquiring more enhanced humans. If we could build a force of these warriors fighting for the Empire, we would be unstoppable. That night, as Deho lay in his cell, he smiled grimly. The aliens thought they were using him, but he was using them just as much. Every day made him stronger, more knowledgeable, and more dangerous, and soon, he would find a way to reach G. Once he had his fellow humans safe, the Vorthok would discover what it truly meant to awaken a sleeping warrior. The hunter had indeed become the hunted. The aliens just didn't realize it yet. 3 weeks into his captivity, Deho noticed something different in his daily routine. Instead of being taken directly back to his cell after combat training, the guards made a detour through the ship's maintenance section. It seemed like a mistake, but Deho's enhanced intuition told him otherwise. As they passed through a narrow corridor lined with pipes and conduits, he caught a glimpse of someone working in an access panel. Dark hair, human features, the same person from the holographic image, G-Wu. She looked up for just a moment as they passed. Their eyes met briefly, and Deho saw something there that gave him hope, intelligence, determination, and most importantly, recognition. That night, lying in his energy-barred cell, Deho heard a soft tapping sound coming through the ventilation system. It was rhythmic, deliberate. Morse code. Can you hear me? The tapping spelled out. Deho smiled in the darkness. He tapped back against the wall with his knuckle. Yes, you are Jiwoo, correct. Engineer second class, Earth Colonial Fleet. You are the enhanced soldier they captured. Deho, Republic of Korea Armed Forces. Enhanced Warrior Division. There was a pause, then more tapping. I have been sabotaging their systems for months. Small things. Making repairs take longer, causing minor malfunctions. They think I am just incompetent. Smart. What do you know about other humans? There are more. Scattered across several systems. Most are used as laborers, but some have skilled the aliens' value. There is a doctor named Minho on a research station, a pilot called Sungmin on a cargo ship, at least a dozen others I have heard about. This was better news than Deho had dared hope for. Humanity was not extinct. They were scattered and enslaved, but they were alive. Can you access ship systems? He tapped back. Limited access. I repair things, so they have to give me some system privileges. I have been mapping this ship for weeks. Guard rotations, security protocols, weapon storage. I was waiting for the right opportunity. I think I am that opportunity. Over the following days, they developed a communication system. Jiwoo would tap messages through the ventilation when the guards changed shifts. Deho would respond with his own taps. Slowly, they built up a detailed plan. Jiwoo had discovered that the ship would be docking at a supply station in 4 days. During docking, many of the crew would be off duty, and security would be lighter. More importantly, the supply station had smaller ships that could be stolen if they could reach the docking bay. There is a problem. Jiwoo tapped one night. The ship's database contains information about human settlements. If we escape, they might take revenge on other humans in their territory. Deho had considered this. Then we take the database with us, and we make sure they cannot hurt anyone else. How? Leave that to me. Can you access the main computer core? Not directly, but I can cause a system malfunction that would require me to go there for repairs. I would have maybe 10 minutes before they realize what I am really doing. That will be enough. When we move, I need you to download everything. Star charts, military data, locations of human prisoners. Everything. The files will be massive. It could take hours to transfer that much data. Then we make those hours. I have been studying their combat techniques for weeks. When the time comes, I will keep them busy while you work. 2 days before the planned escape, something unexpected happened. During his daily combat session, Deho was matched against a new opponent. But this one was different. It was human. The man was tall and lean, with the kind of muscle definition that suggested enhancement similar to Deho's own. His eyes held the same cold intelligence that marked all enhanced soldiers. I am Hojin, the man said quietly as they faced each other in the arena. Stealth Operations Division. They captured me 6 months ago. Deho Enhanced Warrior Division. He kept his voice equally low. Are there others? At least 3 more. That I know of. They keep us separated. Use us against each other. They think it will break our spirits. Above them, Dr. Kelroth was making excited notes. Excellent. Now we can study how enhanced humans fight against each other. This data will be invaluable. Deho and Hojin circled each other slowly. To the watching aliens, it looked like they were sizing each other up for combat. In reality, they were having a whispered conversation. There is a plan, Deho murmured. Escape attempt in 2 days. Can you be ready? I have been ready since the day they captured me. What do you need? Create a distraction during the docking procedure, something that will draw security away from the computer core. Consider it done. They fought for the cameras, putting on a show that satisfied the alien observers while coordinating their real plans. To anyone watching, it looked like an intense battle between two enhanced warriors. The truth was far different. When the fight ended with both humans apparently exhausted but neither seriously injured, Dr. Kelrath was thrilled with the data he had collected. That night, the tapping through the ventilation carried new information. Of plans, Giwu signaled, "I found something in the database. There is another human on this ship, a woman named Yunbai. She is being held in a different section. We're high security area. I think she might be enhanced too, because they are keeping her under much stronger containment than they used for me." Deho processed this information. Another enhanced human meant another ally, but it also meant another person to rescue. The plan would have to be modified. Can you reach her? Not directly, but during the escape, if you can get to level 7, section C, she should be there. Understood. Be ready tomorrow night. The next day brought unexpected news. Commander Nexus visited Deho's cell personally. "We have decided to relocate you," the commander announced. "Your performance has been so impressive that High Command wants to see you fight in the Grand Arena on Vorthog Prime." This was a complication Deho had not anticipated. If they moved him off the ship now, he would lose his chance to escape with Jiwoo and the database information. When he asked, "Tomorrow, after we complete docking procedures." Perfect, the timing could not have been better. The aliens thought they were moving him to a place where he would be even more valuable to them. Instead, they were giving him the exact cover he needed for his escape plan. "I understand," Deho said calmly. That night, the final messages were tapped through the ventilation system. "Tomorrow, during shift change, I will cause a major malfunction in the power distribution system." Jiwoo signaled, "It will look like an accident, but it will require emergency repairs that will take me to the computer core. Hojin will create his distraction 30 minutes later. I will break out during the confusion and reach you. After we get the data, we find Yunbai and get to the docking bay. What about the other humans you mentioned? Minho, Sungmin, and the others? Once we have the database, we will know where they are. We will come back for them, all of them." "All of them," Deho confirmed. "No human gets left behind." As dawn approached on the day of their planned escape, Deho felt the familiar calm that always came before battle. The aliens thought they had captured and broken human spirits. Tomorrow, they would learn how wrong they were. The hunter was about to become the prey. The escape began exactly as planned. During the morning shift change, Giwu triggered a cascade failure in the ship's power distribution network. Emergency lights flickered on throughout the Dominion as normal lighting failed. "All maintenance personnel to emergency stations," came the announcement over the ship's communication system. "Power failure in sections 7 through 12. Jiwoo grabbed her toolkit and headed for the computer core. Just another technician responding to the crisis. The guards barely glanced at her as she passed. 30 minutes later, Hojin made his move. During his scheduled exercise period, he used his enhanced strength to damage the containment field generator in his cell. The explosion was small but spectacular, sending alarms throughout the security section. "Security breach in detention level," came the urgent announcement. "All guards, to containment area immediately." That was Deho's signal. The guards outside his cell rushed away to deal with the apparent emergency, leaving only a single alien. At his post, Deho had been studying the energy barrier system for weeks. A carefully applied pressure at the right point caused the field generator to overload. The barrier flickered and died. The remaining guard turned in shock, reaching for his weapon. But Deho was already moving. A single strike to the aliens. Neck ended the threat silently. Level 7, Section C was exactly where Jiwoo had said it would be. The high security area was nearly deserted, with most guards responding to the various emergencies. Deho found Yunbai's cell after checking only 3 doors. She was awake, sitting calmly on her containment bed as if she had been expecting him. She was small, even by human standards, but there was something in her eyes that reminded Deho of the tactical instructors back on Earth. "You must be the enhanced warrior they have been talking about," she said as he disabled her containment field. "I am Yunbai. Strategic Command Division. Deho, we are leaving. Now. About time. I have been listening to their security communications for weeks. Their tactical planning is absolutely terrible." As they moved through the ship's corridors, Yunbai proved her value immediately. She seemed to know exactly which routes to take to avoid the remaining guards, and her understanding of alien military protocols was extraordinary. "Left here," she whispered as they approached an intersection. "Guard patrol comes through the main corridor in 30 seconds. They reached the computer core just as Jiwoo finished downloading the last of the critical files. She looked up as they entered, relief clear on her face. "I have everything," she reported. "Star charts, military installations, prisoner locations, technology specifications, the entire Vorthok database." "How much?" Deho asked. "Enough to keep our people busy for years." and enough to cause serious problems for the Vorthok Empire. Yunbai was already studying the tactical displays. Their fleet positions are completely exposed. If someone knew where to strike, they could cripple their entire military structure in this sector. Someone like us, Hojin asked as he joined them. His distraction had been successful, but they could hear search teams getting closer. Exactly. Like us, Yunbai confirmed. But first, we need to get off this ship. The docking bay was 3 levels down and heavily guarded under normal circumstances. But these were not normal circumstances. The various emergencies had drawn security away from many areas, and Yunbai's knowledge of military protocols helped them avoid the remaining patrols. The supply station's docking area was busy with loading operations. Several small ships were available, including a fast courier vessel that would serve their purposes perfectly. Can you fly it? Daeho asked Jiwoo. I can fly anything with engines, she replied confidently. But we have a problem. That ship is registered to the Vorthok military. The moment we launch, every ship in the system will be hunting us. Then we make sure they cannot follow us, Yunbai said. She was studying a tactical display of the docking area. There are fuel storage tanks for the station's main power plant. If something happened to those tanks during our departure, the explosion would disable the entire station. Hojin finished. No communications, no pursuit ships, no way to track us. Civilian casualties, Daeho asked. Minimal. The station is mostly automated, and the explosion will be controlled, but it will buy us the time we need to get away. As they prepared to board the stolen ship, alarms began sounding throughout the docking area. Commander Nexus's voice echoed over the communication system. All stations, be advised. Human prisoners have escaped. They are extremely dangerous and must be recaptured alive. Repeat, capture alive. Too late for that, Jiwoo muttered as she started the ship's engines. The escape was not without cost. Vorthok security forces reached the docking bay as they were launching, and energy weapons fire filled the air around their ship. Hojin took a blast to his shoulder that would have killed a normal human. But his enhancements kept him functional. EUNB. Sabotage worked perfectly. As their ship cleared the docking area, the fuel storage tanks exploded in a chain reaction that lit up the entire station. The electromagnetic pulse from the explosion disabled tracking systems and communication arrays. Across the local area, where to? Jiwoo asked as they jumped to hyperspace. The neutral zone, Daeho replied. According to the database, there are human survivors hiding in several systems there. Their first stop was a mining station where the database indicated 3 humans were being held as laborers. The rescue was almost embarrassingly easy. The station's Vorthok overseer was not expecting for enhanced humans to arrive with detailed knowledge of his security systems and tactical weaknesses. Minho, the doctor they rescued, was invaluable. His medical knowledge combined with their stolen alien technology allowed him to treat Hojin's injury and improve all their physical capabilities even further. The enhancements in your bodies are just the beginning, he explained as he worked. With what I have learned from studying alien biology, I can make modifications that will increase your effectiveness by 50%. The next rescue was a cargo ship where they found Sungmin the pilot Jiwoo had mentioned. His knowledge of space navigation and ship systems made their small fleet much more capable. I know where more of our people are, he told them as they planned their next move. There is a prison asteroid where they keep the ones they think are too dangerous for normal labor details. The prison asteroid was heavily defended, but it was also poorly designed for defending against attackers who knew exactly how the systems worked. Using information from the stolen database, they infiltrated the facility and rescued 12 more humans, including 2 more enhanced soldiers. Each rescue made them stronger. Each victory spread word through the underground networks that existed among enslaved humans throughout the sector. The impossible was happening. Humans were fighting back, and they were winning. Commander Nexus received the reports with growing alarm. In 3 weeks, the escaped humans had struck 12 different installations, rescued dozens of prisoners, and stolen enough military intelligence to compromise operations across multiple systems. How many of them are there? He demanded. Current estimates suggest no more than 20, Dr. Kelroth replied. But their effectiveness is far beyond anything we calculated. Each rescued human seems to make their force significantly more capable. 20 humans are destroying our operations across 3 star systems. Enhanced humans, Commander, with detailed knowledge of our tactical and technological weaknesses, and they appear to be led by someone with extraordinary strategic capabilities. That someone was Yunbai, her tactical genius, combined with the intelligence they had stolen and the growing skills of their rescued comrades, was turning their small band into something that struck fear into the heart of the Vorthok Empire. But the rescued humans brought disturbing news. Earth had not been destroyed, as the aliens believed. It had been evacuated and hidden using advanced stealth technology. The apparent destruction had been an elaborate deception designed to protect the remaining human population while they rebuilt their civilization. How many humans are really out there? Daeho asked Minho as they planned their next operation. According to the records I have seen, at least 50 million were evacuated before the deception. They have been building a new fleet in secret for over 200 years. A secret fleet, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. I think that moment might be coming soon. As their small force continued to grow and strike at Vorthok installations, word was spreading throughout human communities across the galaxy. The resistance had begun. Hope was alive, and somewhere in the hidden depths of space, a much larger force was watching and preparing to emerge from the shadows. The message came through on an encrypted channel that Jiwoo had never seen before. The signal was strong, professional, and unmistakably human in its technical signature. Attention resistance forces, this is Admiral Taiyin of the Human Reclamation Fleet. We have been monitoring your activities. Prepare for direct contact. Daeho stared at the communication screen in their stolen command ship. After months of believing they were alone, the idea that there was an entire human fleet still active seemed almost impossible. Could be a trap, Hojin pointed out. He had grown more cautious since their escape, and his stealth training made him suspicious of everything. The encryption is definitely human, Jiwoo confirmed, and the technical specifications match Earth colonial fleet standards from before the evacuation. Bai was studying tactical displays of the local area. There are no Vorthok ships within sensor range, but I am detecting some unusual energy signatures about 3 light towers from our position. Set course for those coordinates, Daeho decided, but keep weapons ready and engines hot. If this is a trap, we leave fast. What they found at the coordinates was not a trap, it was a fleet. Human ships filled their sensors, dozens of vessels ranging from small fighters to massive battleships. The designs were familiar but advanced, clearly evolved from Earth's colonial fleet technology but incorporating improvements developed over 2 centuries of hidden progress. The flagship was enormous, easily twice the size of the largest warships they had encountered. Its hull bore the symbols of the United Earth Fleet, but there were modifications and additions that spoke of centuries of development. This is Admiral Taeyeon, came the voice over their communication system. Permission to come aboard is granted. Docking Bay 7. The docking bay was a marvel of engineering efficiency. Human crews worked with practiced precision, maintaining ships and equipment that looked both familiar and wonderfully advanced. After months of dealing with alien technology, seeing human faces and hearing their own language everywhere was almost overwhelming. Admiral Taeyeon was waiting for them in the ship's conference room. She was older than any of them, probably in her 60s, but there was an energy about her that reminded Daeho of the best military commanders he had known on Earth. First, let me say how impressed we are with what you have accomplished, she began. Intelligence reports indicate you have rescued over 60 human prisoners and disrupted Vorthok operations across 12 systems. There are more humans who need help, Daeho replied. The database we captured shows hundreds of our people scattered across alien space. We know, we have been tracking human populations throughout the galaxy for decades. But until recently, we were not ready to act openly. Ready how? Anbai asked. Admiral Taeyeon activated a holographic display that showed star charts of the local galactic region. When Earth was evacuated, it was not destroyed. The evacuation fleet took our population to a cluster of hidden worlds in the Outer Rim. For over 200 years, we have been rebuilding, developing new technology, and preparing for this moment. The display showed dozens of star systems, all apparently under human control. Shipyards, colonies, research facilities, military installations, an entire civilization that had grown in secret. Why now? Jiwoo asked. Why reveal yourselves after so long? Because of you, the Admiral replied simply. Your escape and the intelligence you provided showed us that the galaxy's major powers are weaker than we thought. The Vorthok Empire is overextended, fighting multiple conflicts. The Zephyrian Alliance is in civil war. This is our opportunity to reclaim our place among the stars. She touched a control, and the display changed to show current fleet positions. Human ships were moving throughout the galaxy, taking positions near major alien installations. The operation begins in 70 hours. Every major Vorthok military installation, every prison facility holding human captives, every supply depot and command center will be hit simultaneously. How many ships? Hojin asked. 300 combat vessels for the first wave. Another, 500 in reserve, if needed. The numbers were staggering. Daeho had been thinking in terms of small rescue operations. This was warfare on a galactic scale. What do you need from us? He asked. Everything you have learned about Vorthok tactics and technology. Your people have more direct combat experience against them than anyone in our fleet. We want you to lead the strike on their primary command station. Bai leaned forward, studying the tactical displays. The station has overlapping defense grids, multiple fighter squadrons, and a garrison of over 10,000 troops. Under normal circumstances, yes, but we have advantages they do not expect. Admiral Taeon showed them technical specifications for the human fleet's weapons and defensive systems. 2 centuries of hidden development had produced technology that was in many ways superior to anything the major galactic powers possessed. Stealth systems that make our ships nearly invisible, weapons that can penetrate their strongest shields, and something else they will not expect: what enhanced human soldiers. Based on the data you provided about your own modifications, our scientists have developed enhancement techniques that surpass even Earth's original programs. We have over 1,000 enhanced soldiers ready for deployment. The preparation took 60 hours of intensive briefing and equipment familiarization. Daeho and his team were given access to weapons and armor that made their original Earth equipment look primitive. Personal shield generators, weapons that could cut through alien armor like paper, communication systems that could penetrate any known jamming technology. But the most impressive addition to their team was the other enhanced soldiers from the fleet, men and women who had volunteered for modifications that made them faster, stronger, and more capable than even the original Enhanced Warrior program had achieved. Remember, Admiral Taeon told them as they prepared to depart, this is not just about defeating the Vorthok. This is about announcing to the galaxy that humanity has returned, and we will not be ignored or enslaved ever again. The attack began exactly on schedule. Across dozens of star systems, human ships dropped out of hyperspace and struck Vorthok installations with devastating precision. The aliens' communication networks were jammed within minutes, preventing any coordinated response. Daeho led the assault on the primary command station. The Vorthok defenders had never faced anything like the enhanced human soldiers who cut through their defenses, like unstoppable forces of nature. 2 centuries of anger at humanity's treatment fueled every strike. Commander Nexus was in the station's command center when the attacks began. He watched in horror as his Empirist installations were systematically destroyed by ships that appeared on sensors like ghosts and struck with impossible accuracy. How many human ships are attacking us? He demanded. Current estimates suggest over 200 vessels across all systems. His communications officer reported, "Sir, they are using technology we have never seen before." "That is impossible. Humans are a primitive species. They have no space fleet." "Sir, they are jamming our communications and destroying our defenses faster than we can respond. Whatever they were before, they are not primitive now." The battle for the command station lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the Vorthok military command structure in the sector had been completely destroyed. Similar results were reported from attacks across the region. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted overnight. Humanity was no longer a scattered collection of refugees and slaves. They were a military force capable of challenging any existing empire. And they were just getting started. 6 months after the coordinated strikes against the Vorthok Empire, the galaxy looked very different. The proud empire that had once controlled dozens of systems was reduced to a few scattered colonies begging for mercy. Their military might, built over centuries of conquest, had been shattered in a single day by an enemy they had dismissed as primitive. Daeho stood in the observation deck of the Reclamation, Admiral Taeon's flagship, watching as yet another former Vorthok world formally surrendered to human authority. The sight should have been satisfying, but he felt oddly empty as he watched the alien officials sign the documents that would end their independence. Having second thoughts, Admiral Taeon asked as she joined him at the viewport. "Not about the war. They brought this on themselves when they decided to enslave my people. But what comes next? What comes next is that humanity takes its rightful place among the stars. We have been refugees and victims for too long." Through the viewport, they could see the orbital shipyards that human engineers were building around the planet below. Former Vorthok citizens worked alongside human supervisors, therefore eyes wide with fear and confusion as they adapted to their new reality. "The Galactic Council has requested a formal audience," the Admiral continued. "They want to establish diplomatic relations with the Human Federation." The Human Federation, it had a nice sound to it, Daeho thought, much better than the scattered refugee fleets and hidden colonies they had been for so long. When he asked next week, on Galactic Central Station, and they specifically requested that you be part of the delegation. Daeho was not surprised. In the months since the war began, he had become something of a symbol to both humans and aliens throughout the galaxy. The enhanced soldier who had escaped from impossible odds and started the resistance that toppled an empire. "I suppose I should be honored. You should be." The Council has never made such a request before. They want to meet the human who taught the galaxy to fear us. Galactic Central Station was a massive structure that served as the political heart of the known galaxy. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered there to conduct diplomacy, trade negotiations, and the complex business of interstellar relations. When the human delegation arrived, they were greeted with a mixture of curiosity, fear, and respect that Daeho found both amusing and concerning. Species that had ignored or dismissed humanity for generations now watched their every move with intense interest. That the council chamber was an enormous amphitheater where representatives from the galaxy's major powers sat in assigned areas based on their species' political importance. For the first time in galactic history, humans had been assigned seats in the primary tier, alongside the most powerful civilizations. The Galactic Council recognizes Admiral Taeon of the Human Federation, announced the council speaker, a tall crystalline being whose voice resonated through translation devices in a dozen languages. Admiral Taeon stood and addressed the assembly with the calm confidence of someone who knew she held all the important cards. Honored representatives, humanity comes before this council, not as supplicants, but as equals. We have proven our right to exist as a free and independent civilization. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The concept of humans as equals was still difficult for many species to accept. The Zephyrian Alliance recognizes the military capabilities demonstrated by human forces, said the Alliance representative, a large reptilian being with scarred scales. We propose a mutual defense pact between our civilizations. Similar offers came from a dozen other species. Trade agreements, military, alliances, technology, exchanges. Every major power in the galaxy suddenly wanted to be friends with humanity, but it was the Vorthok representative who drew the most attention. Commander Nexus, looking older and more defeated than Deho remembered, stepped forward to address the council. The Vorthok Empire formally requests terms for permanent peace with the Human Federation, he said, his voice carrying none of the arrogance Deho remembered from their first meeting. We acknowledge our past mistakes in the treatment of human citizens and offer full reparations for any crimes committed against them. Reparations? Admiral Taeon asked. What could you possibly offer that would compensate for 2 centuries of slavery and murder? Commander Nexus's 4 eyes found Deho in the human delegation. We offer full disclosure of our scientific and technological databases. Every piece of information we possess about enhancement technologies, space travel, and military systems. And we offer something else. He activated a holographic display that showed star charts of previously unknown regions. There are other human populations in the galaxy, descendants of colony ships that escaped Earth's evacuation. Some have been enslaved by other species. Others have established hidden settlements in uncharted space. We will provide the locations of all known human communities. The offer was generous, but Deho could see the calculation behind it. The Vorthok were hoping to buy their survival with information about scattered human populations. The Human Federation will consider your offer, Admiral Taeon replied, diplomatically. After the formal session ended, Deho found himself surrounded by alien diplomats who wanted to meet the famous human warrior. Their attention was flattering but also exhausting. You have become quite the celebrity, Jiwoo observed as she rescued him from a particularly persistent group of insectoid diplomats. The entire galaxy wants to know about the human who started a war. I did not start anything, I just refused to stay down when they tried to break me, and that refusal changed everything. She was right, Deho realized. His escape from the Vorthok ship had been the catalyst that brought humanity back to the galactic stage, but it had also created new responsibilities and new dangers. Admiral Taeon wants to establish you as the first human ambassador to the Galactic Council, Jiwoo continued. Permanent position, with full diplomatic immunity and access to all council facilities. What would I do as an ambassador? What you have always done, protect humanity's interests and make sure no one ever tries to enslave our people again. It was a responsibility Deho had never wanted, but one he was uniquely qualified to handle. His enhanced abilities, combined with his experience dealing with alien cultures, made him the ideal candidate to represent humanity in the complex world of galactic politics. There is something else, Jiwoo added. The intelligence reports you captured from the Vorthok ship led to some interesting discoveries. There are other enhanced humans out there, lots of them. Other survivors from the Earth programs, different programs. Apparently, Earth's evacuation included several experimental military projects that we never knew about. Enhanced soldiers, with capabilities that make our modifications look basic. Deho felt a chill run down his spine. Where are they now? That is the problem. Most are still in cryostasis, scattered across the galaxy in hidden facilities. And based on what we have learned about some of these programs, not all of them were designed to be as stable as you are. The implications were troubling. If there were enhanced humans with abilities beyond his own, and if they were not necessarily friendly to the current human government, they could pose a significant threat to the fragile peace that was being established. How many are we talking about? Deho asked. Conservative estimates suggest at least 50 facilities, with anywhere from 1 to dozen subjects each. But some of the program files we recovered suggest there could be hundreds more. As Deho looked out at the diverse collection of alien species in the council chamber, he realized that humanity's return to galactic prominence was just the beginning. The galaxy had learned to respect and fear humans, but there were still challenges ahead that no one had anticipated. The vast darkness of space, Other enhanced humans were sleeping in cryochambers, waiting to be awakened. And when they eventually emerged, they would enter a galaxy that had been forever changed by the actions of a single soldier who refused to accept defeat. The aliens had awakened one human super soldier and faced the unforeseen consequences of that decision. The galaxy was about to discover that there were many more surprises waiting in humanity's past. But for now, at least, humans were no longer victims. They were players in the great game of galactic politics, and they intended to make sure that no one ever again made the mistake of underestimating the species from the small blue planet called Earth. The age of human subjugation was over. The age of human influence had begun.